Hello and welcome to this session in which we will discuss tax preparers and CPAs privilege communication. Simply put, we'll be discussing confidentiality. Now, if you watched Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad or any show that has a lawyer as a main character, you would know something about confidentiality. Simply put, anything you discuss between you and your lawyer is confidential. A certain professional relationship, they are granted this privilege. Uh, the attorney-client is a main one. The other one is a doctor-patient privilege. This means that any information you share within the scope of the relationship cannot be used against you. It's safe that you can share this information, cannot be used against you in a court without the consent, obviously, of you, the privilege holder. Now we have to understand the big picture, why that's the case, so you understand how does it apply to CPAs and tax preparer. The reason for this privilege, this protection, is to help the doctor, to help the attorney do their job. So in order for them to do their job, you have to tell them the truth. And for you to tell them the truth, you have to be comfortable that your information cannot be used against you. So for these professionals to help you, effectively, you must feel safe sharing the truth. So a lawyer cannot defend you if they don't know all the story. And a doctor cannot treat you properly. And if you are afraid to share with them that anything you share can be used against you, you're going to be hesitant. Now the question becomes, how about if you are dealing with CPA? Do you have any privilege communication protection, or with the enrolled agent or tax preparers? Well, for CPAs, you do have some of these privileges that can apply in specific situation. And specifically, we are going to break them into three buckets. First is the attorney-client privilege. Two is the work product privilege. Three is the tax practitioner or the taxpayer privilege under Internal Revenue Code, Section 7525. So in this session, we'll focus on those three in order to discuss the CPA privilege communication. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, farhatlectures.com.
You are here because you are serious about mastering taxation. Whether you are taking a tax course, studying for the CPA exam, or enrolled agent, tax feels overwhelming, not because it's impossible, but because it's dense, detailed, and often taught at a pace that doesn't match the way you learn. The rules can feel disconnected, and the logic isn't always explained clearly. At Farhat Lectures, we slow it down. We explain the why behind the rules, break concept into simple steps, and rebuild your understanding from the ground up without assuming any prior knowledge. When explanation matches your learning, everything changes. The confusion fades, the rules start to connect, and tax becomes manageable. If you are ready to understand tax with clarity and confidence, start your free trial at farhatlectures.com and let's build your tax foundation together.
The first one is the attorney-client privilege, and that's the strongest one. Simply put, what you're doing is you are hiring your lawyer to hire your CPA. So you have an attorney-client privilege. How do you do that? You can protect the confidential communication between an attorney and their client, any client. Now what you will do, the trick is to let your lawyer hires the CPA from the get-go, so any communication between you and the CPA is shielded. Now obviously the majority of people don't do that. The majority of people, when they hire their CPA, they don't have any person in between. For example, my CPA is a former student of mine. He's a CPA now. He takes care of my taxes. Any communication is not protected. If I want to protect my communication with my CPA, I would have to have my lawyer hiring the CPA, that any communication becomes protected. So if a CPA is hired by an attorney to assist with legal matters, the CPA communication with the attorney is covered. So what we're doing here is this. We have to differentiate between the job of each group. The CPA job is to report the figure accurately, give verification, not to give you any legal defense. That's not their job. If you let your lawyer hire the CPA, then the CPA will be borrowing that shield from the lawyer. because now you have this attorney-client privilege relationship with your CPA, therefore communication is privilege. It's protected. Now, obviously, people with questionable deduction or where the rules are not clear 100% or complex transaction, they will hire an attorney to hire their CPA to make sure they are protected from the get-go. Another privilege called the work product privilege, it's very narrow, comparable to the attorney-client privilege. That's wide and the strongest type of privilege. This work product privilege protects material prepared for litigation from being disclosed to the opposing parties. Simply put, if you prepare paperwork, if you prepare any computation, spreadsheet, PDF files for the case, then that information is protected. So cover tangible items. Tangible items could be also an Excel sheet, report, spreadsheet, analysis, computation prepared at the attorney's request for a case, but not the actual discussion, is protected. So the product themselves are protected. So for example, a CPA prepares an asset valuation report for a lawsuit at an attorney's request. The report is protected, but the conversation, the chat are not about any unrelated topics. They're not protected. So the purpose for this is to protect the case preparation, but doesn't protect any legal advice outside that scope. The third one is called the tax practitioner, the tax privilege, and this is granted by the Congress. It protects certain tax-related communication, and notice here tax-related, between a taxpayer and a federally authorized practitioner. Who are these people? CPAs, enrolled agents. And so if you're studying for the EA exam, you have to know this, enrolled actuaries. And this is similar to attorney-client privilege under Section 7525, but it only applies to tax advice. So this privilege does not apply to criminal. It applies only to non-criminal tax matters, so tax advice that's being given before the IRS and certain federal court proceeding. So some states may have different rules, but we're not going to go into that. For example, a taxpayer discusses a legal tax strategy with their CPA for an IRS audit. That's fine. That discussion may be privileged under federal law. So the CPA job, remember, is to accurately report, is accurate reporting, accurate compliance, not defending the client. Therefore, as far as the government sees it, if there's any criminal discussion, it cannot be protected. It's not protected because that's not the job for the CPA. Therefore, if any fraud or illegal activity, or it doesn't have to be illegal activity, if you suspect a potential future dispute about a deduction, what you should do, hire the CPA through the lawyer to get that protection. Otherwise, if something arises down the road, if something potentially goes south and the CPA is pulled into the court, they have to testify. They have to say whatever you discuss with them. But if you hire them through a lawyer, then that communication is privileged. Now keep in mind, this Section 7525 is not granted to tax shelters. So tax shelters, anybody involved in tax shelters, given advice promoting tax shelters. What are tax shelters? Basically vehicles, ways to avoid income taxes. That doesn't protect that. Any person promoting or participating in the shelter, any director, officer, employee, agent, or representative of that person, any person holding a capital or profit interest, any communication connected to promoting direct or indirect participation in the shelter. No protection for promoting tax shelters. So Section 7525 don't apply to that. Now, how about work papers? What's work papers? Work papers is the end, not the end product. It's basically when you're cooking the end product. You prepare Excel sheet, you prepare trial balance, you prepare financial report, you prepare summaries, you prepare financial reports. That work paper, it's also called working papers. Who owns them? Who has control of them? Well, believe it or not, it's the accountant, the CPA, the tax preparer. Now remember, I'm not talking about your W-2. When you give your accountant your W-2, that's your W-2. If you give them your 1099, that's your 1099. If you give them your bank statement, if you give them your business record, that's your record. But when the accountant or when the CPA take those bank statement and input the information into Excel or input this information into their own trial balance to prepare the financial statement, that working paper is the CPA, is the accountant work paper. And this should make sense. It's not the client because they did the work. They need to give you back your paperwork, but anything that they work for, it's theirs. Now, it's theirs, but keep in mind, they cannot share this information without your permission. It's theirs, but they cannot share it. Of course, there are a few exceptions. We have to cover those exceptions. So it's their papers, but they have to respect the confidentiality because they're going to have total revenues, total assets, certain transaction there that's confidential. Now, except in the following situation, they must or they can share this information. For example, under a court subpoena, they must provide this information. They are legally compelled when required in response to a valid court order. They must do that. How about, and this happens often, when the CPA wants to sell their practice, they want to sell their business to another person. What do they do first? The other person, they want to take a look at, they want to do their due diligence, look at paperwork, how does the current CPA perform their work. Therefore, do you have to show them the paperwork? And the answer is yes, you can show them as a view, read only, right? So you can show them the paperwork, assuming also when that happens, before you do that, before you sell, you make them sign a non-disclosure agreement. So they can view, but you cannot transfer, you cannot give it to them. You cannot give them the paperwork to a potential buyer, obviously, unless the business is actually sold, then they get their paperwork. In the absence of that, they can view it, but you cannot give it to them. Now, how about if there is a peer review? Sometimes state CPA societies, what they do is they have quality control review for your firm. They want to take a look at your paperwork to make sure you are doing a good job because you belong to that state society. They want to check for firm quality standard. You have to provide that paperwork. How about if the client sues you, can you use that paperwork? Of course. That's your defense. Your paperwork is your defense. In an audit and a tax matter, when defending against a lawsuit brought by a client, you have to use the paperwork to show them what you did. The paperwork is your defense. You must do it. How about if there's an official investigation? When defending against an official investigation by the AICPA or the State Board of Accountancy, similar to the client lawsuit, because when would the AICPA or the State Board of Accountancy come after you? Because a client is complaining. When the client is complaining, you violated a policy or you committed some unethical standard. You violated some ethical standard. Then you have to show them otherwise. How do you show them otherwise? Paperwork. Therefore, you have to show your paperwork. You are allowed to do so. Why? You need to keep your license. If you can't show them the paperwork, if you cannot show them what you did, they will take your license. You would lose the case. You have no evidence to support your case. That's your evidence. And also, you might have to share this information if GAAP disclosure requirement mandate this. I'm sure you know if you took the FAR exam or if you're taking intermediate accounting, Schedule M1 for taxes or deferred tax asset, deferred tax liability, tax and financial reporting are interrelated. So when you prepare the financial statement, sometimes you have to do certain disclosure, prepare certain disclosure about taxes. Under those circumstances, you can share this information, share the paperwork to prepare the financial statement as long as it is required by GAAP. Now let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. A CPA is asked to turn over client work papers to a prospective buyer of the CPA's practice. So they're interested in your business. That's great. Which of the following action is permissible without the client consent? Well, if you're taking this quiz on Farhat Lectures and you forgot how to deal with this topic, you could always ask the AI to explain the topic. So I'll give you an overview about when can you and you cannot share the client work papers. Now let's take a look at the answers. A, allowing the buyer to review paperwork, the paperwork work papers and details, physically transferring the paperwork to the buyer, emailing a copy of the work paper to the buyer for review, sharing the work papers only after removing the client's name. Well, the rule is this: you can let them see it, view it, but remember I say see but don't touch. Okay, you can let them see it, but they cannot have control over it. So let's eliminate the one that they have control. If you email a copy, they have a control. You want to eliminate that. Sharing the work paper only after removing you cannot share anywhere. You cannot share it with them. They can view it. Physically transferring, that's a no-no. So by process of elimination, we left allowing the buyer to review the work papers in detail. And that's the correct answer. They can review it. For example, you can invite them. Come to my office, give them a box, put them in a room. Just make sure that they don't take any pictures. Review the paperwork. Now, on Farhat lectures, what you can do, you could ask AI also to explain the correct and incorrect answer. We'll have correct and incorrect answers as well, but you can ask it to expand on that. And you could expand it to create similar MCQs. Now, whether you are a CPA exam candidate, enrolled agent, college student, what you want to do, you want as much resources to help you understand these topics. On farhatlectures.com, we don't only provide lectures, we don't only provide the notes, we provide quizzes, AI. You can chat with the video, AI chatbot. To do what? To help you understand this topic better. The best investment you can make is invest in yourself. Good luck and peace.